So let's just take a second. I want to just have the panel introduce themselves. The conversation we're about to have is exciting because there's two parts to it. Part one is we're going to talk a bit about AR and experimentation. Part two is experimentation with AI. And what's really, really exciting is you're about to see some of the internal development and work happening that's never been seen before. But we're kind of revealing some of the inner workings of how Chobani's using experimentation and invention to innovate. So, Dave, I'll pass to you a little bit about yourself, then Dustin, and we'll get started.
Thank you. Hey, it's great to be here. Hey, everybody. I'm David Isaac. I'm the VP Creative Production at Chobani. What that means is my team oversees the creative production on the brand side and kind of manages the flow of brand production across experiential, digital, content, and innovation. I've been doing this for about 15 years. I've been at Chobani for 5. Was head of production at an agency in Canada, and then Amsterdam, and New York, where I eventually fell in love with the Chobani brand and joined them 5 years ago to build up their production capabilities. And yeah, innovation is a big part of what we do. Obviously, we do a lot on the digital side of things, but we're always proactively looking at new technology and seeing how we can apply it for the business.
Well, I'm going to use my loud voice in here. My name's Dustin. How's everybody doing? I'm the president at Tool. We're a creative production partner that works and supports brands and agencies in ideation, creative production, but our specialty is at the intersection of storytelling, creative technology, and experience. And as it relates to today's talk, I've been working, and our company's been working in the field of AR since 2012. Supporting brands and campaigns such as Starbucks, Honda, Chobani, and then also as it relates to the second part of our talk, AI, been helping brands use AI in creative campaigns as well as automation since 2016, and that includes brands such as Toyota, Under Armour, and Coca-Cola. So we're going to get into some very specific examples today. We want to show you guys stuff instead of just talking theoretical. And that's where we're going to hopefully take you on this journey today.
So to start things, Dave, we'd love to hear, what is the experimentation mentality at Chobani, and why AR? Why did you want to try and experiment with AR?
Well, I think for us, anytime there's an opportunity to connect with a new set of audiences or experiment with a new platform, we take a test and learn mentality and our mindset there. We like to start small and get in there and see how the technology works and just kind of understand the vocabulary, vernacular, and then start to use it as a way to get people excited across the organization. We realize that we need buy-in cross-functionally for something to be successful. So for AR in particular, we were looking for a way to kind of stand out on shelf in a specific seasonality through the example that we're going to share. But we started really small, and I gave Dustin a call, and I said, we want to start experimenting with AR off of our packaging, and we started playing with it on a very small scale. But once it started to pick up momentum, it really kind of skyrocketed, and we ended up turning it into something much bigger that really helped the business.
So probably one of the easiest ways to help you understand what we did is just to show you a little bit of what we made together. So Chobani already had something planned for the Halloween season. That they were going to do some packaging with illustrators and bring their packaging to life. And so what we were asked to do was, how do you create some surprise and delight with their packaging by bringing this illustration to life in augmented reality? And so that's what we started talking about. And I want to give Dave and the Chobani team credit, because a lot of times with AR, we get asked just to come up with like a one-off campaign, and they were specifically talking to us more about how can this be an ongoing AR strategy tied into their packaging, and how is this not something that we're just going to truck with. So we're going to show you, this is how people activate on the packaging. So if you see there was a QR code and a call to action, on each one there are different, how many flavors did we do?
We did 7 SKUs, and basically, yeah, we started with, overwrapping the packaging, 7 SKUs with a QR code that led you to an experience. But really, I mean, for this to be successful, you really needed to put the kind of the muscle of the whole organization behind it. So, it really turned into a 360 campaign with film, point of sale activation, kind of a contest, but really it was all about surprising the light on shelf, and really just standing out on shelf and encouraging repeat purchase and trial on the shelf.
So what was nice also is that we had different QR codes for each different SKU, so we were able to track how many times people were coming for each flavor. So what I'm going to show you next is the actual, this is a screen capture of what people saw. So this is a web AR experience for those of you who are not familiar with web AR, meaning you don't need to download. I think a lot of us, unless you're already on a social media platform, nobody wants to download apps for marketing campaigns. So web AR, this is built on 8th Wall Niantic, which is one of the world's largest web AR platforms. So you just open up your browser, and after you scan it, it goes to a URL, accept your camera settings, and then you're able to start to see this experience. What this is, it's a virtual trick-or-treat experience, where through doing this, you can actually unlock prizes and win prizes. So I'll show you a little screen capture of that. So, just so you know, you can do this obviously in any space. This is showing you a space outside. If you held up your phone right here, this all would be happening right in the space right here. That's one of the fun things about AR. I think this next thing is 360 video. Do you want to set that up?
Yeah, sure. So again, I think, doing a one-off AR project will only get you so far. But I think as soon as we saw the potential and the opportunity, we kind of shopped this idea around cross-functionally within the organization and started to get people more and more excited. We even, shopped this with our retailers and our customers, and they got excited about something new on shelf. So we really put the full muscle behind it, put out a really great film and content campaign to drive awareness and trial. And yeah, I think once you get all of these pieces connecting and create that ecosystem, you're bound to succeed with, something that really started as a test and learn experiment that kind of, succeeded.
So we're going to show you this video now, and then we're going to show you some results from the campaign. So we're going to now share some results, and one of the big things we're always tracking on an AR campaign is the amount of dwell time. How long are people actually engaged? And so people were on average spending about 2 minutes and 14 seconds on this experience. The game was actually only 1 minute, so that was kind of nice to know that people were spending more time with it. Our friends April and Niantic, who we work with a lot, they were able to share some stats with us that say, on average, a traditional AR experience has about 1 minute of engagement time, so this doubled that. So you see it had a total of 2,600 hours, of total engagement time. So that is a key stat that we all have to look at. But what was nice about this, being tied to packaging, is what Dave's about to share as it relates to sales.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if this doesn't move product on shelf, it's kind of a test and learn, but it's not really going to teach you to do it again. So, it was really great to see the results on shelf. We saw an uplift in household penetration. We saw a volume increase for that time period and seasonality. And purchase intent also, we saw a boost in that. So it really kind of goes to show that, surprising, delighting on shelf, standing out on shelf, and giving your consumer more of an engaging experience at a shopping level could translate into more volume, more sales.
So that is AR. Now we're going to transition to AI, which I think all of us are talking about. Listen, we really want to show you practical applications of what we're doing. So we're going to show you some experimentation, and then we're going to actually show you some creative campaigns that we've recently done with some brands using AI.
Yeah, I think to put a fine point on the air thing. So you identified, we have a gap during Halloween with this product. Let's test something new, low risk for us because we want to try something. You started small, got organizational buy-in. It became a 360 campaign that actually solved your business problem with the Spiro. Would you now say that what started as an experiment is now, AR is now a legitimate channel for you to use on set?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a default tactic that we're going to use every single year, but it's definitely being discussed and something we'll probably repeat. I haven't talked to you about it yet, but maybe there'll be a brief coming up your way soon.
I love when I get new business on stage and talking.
All right, so now with AI, again, what's exciting is we're about to kind of see some of the practical uses creatively, but also operationally in a real-time experiment that this team is actually doing right now. So it has to kind of kick this off.
So, one of the things I wanted to start with as we're talking to brands and agencies is the current landscape. It's super exciting right now. It's also overwhelming with the amount of AI services that are coming out. Every single day, I have somebody on my team sharing a new service. Check out this, visual image service. Check out this speech service. Check out this music service. These aren't even all of them. These are just some of them. It's just meant to show you how overwhelming it is right now. But the point is that how do we bring all of that stuff together in order to allow us to use AI, in my opinion, 3 ways we can use AI in marketing. One is to leverage it for creative campaigns. 2 is to use it for data and insights, being able to analyze all of the data and come back with some insights. And the 3rd way is the automation of content. We're going to specifically talk to you today about the first point and the 3rd point and show you some creative examples. So, Tool's point of view on this is that, I can get this going, there it is the first thing you need to do as a brand is have AI trained on your brand visual data set. So what do we mean by that? Is it needs to train on either your brand style guide, your brand products, like a 3D model or 2D images of your product, an illustration style, if you have one, or your brand photography. There could be other ones. I'm just using these as examples. You don't have to do all of them. You could do one. You could do all. So the point is what that enables you to do is to create a visual data set that you now have. And once you have that visual data set, that is what's going to unlock the power for you to now start creating marketing content using AI. You can tap it into any API you want. In our opinion, brands should be doing this right now. And it's not something you should be holding off on. This also does not mean that this is going out into the public. This can be private, just for you. So what does that then enable you to do is now you can start using it. In our opinion, the best way to use this is for lower funnel marketing content. So product photography, like tabletop photography, social media content, regionalization. And all of this is happening from a custom visual data set that you as a brand can now copyright and have on your own. So this to us is the magic of what we should be doing right now and something that we want to led me to.
Right, a conversation over a coffee that you and I had, where we were just kind of nerding out a little bit on AI applications and the relevance of AI right now, how we could potentially use it, and on our side, from a business need level, there's more products every day, more limited batches, more SKUs, more touch points than ever. And we're constantly on a photo stage shooting product with different ingredients and color and flavor profiles and all of that. And I just threw the challenge over to Dustin and said, is there a way for AI to help us deliver on these hundreds of asset needs in a more efficient way, in a way that's a little bit more intuitive, and but honestly just gives our local markets more flexibility on what they want to use when, and be able to be more reactive. So, if one of our partner customers comes to us, let's say Target comes to us and says, hey, we want this specific lineup of products to put out a promotion on shelf, and next week, can you get that to us? And we're not now scrambling to go and organize a photo shoot or something like that. Then that could be a big win. So I just want you to all know this is very early test and learn thinking. It's experimentation. None of this is actually out in the public. It's all very much internal team thinking. But we thought it might be valuable to share today with you all.
So the ask, as David said, is to think about how can we generate photorealistic versions of the Chobani product. How can we include the ability to have different backgrounds? You can have a seasonal background, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it might be. Can we train on the lighting, the portraiture, and certain brand characteristics of Chobani? We wanted to do this as an initial experiment. This is still very early stages, as Dane said. Here's kind of the steps that we took. So step one is the visual data set that I mentioned. So in this case, training on the portraiture and lighting of Chobani images. And once you have that, you can then apply that to a drawing tool. So we're not saying that we're going to start generating Chobani products yet in AI. The point is you're blending the two together. What we're using is a drawing tool, which is allowing you to take a 2D image or a 3D model of a Chobani product, drop that into a drawing tool, and then you apply the lighting settings that I talked about with AI. And ultimately, what that enables you to do is also then step 3 is generate different backgrounds that you want to put in. And you can use AI to composite everything together. So what you're seeing here is actually generated in AI based on using a 2D image from Chobani's product line. The third step is creating a web interface. And this is really important. A lot of us in marketing departments, we're dabbling in AI, but the beauty is how do you take the services that are out there and then put an easy-to-use web interface on it for your internal marketing team to use. And so that's what this web interface does. So we're showing you a potential use case of how you can apply this and hopefully help save some, earn some efficiencies in how you're approaching product photography.
And so the question for you, Dustin, and then one for you, Dave. So what is the training time like? What is the effort that it takes? Because it seems like a daunting thing to say. We're going to train our AI model to understand this, but it's less complex.
So, there's no hard and fast rule. We're still in early days, but we've done a lot of these types of experiments. And right now what we're finding is it takes about 2 days to train on the lighting and portraiture of a brand with about a data set of about 30 images, maybe 30 images per different type of photo. And then once that's done, we're talking a matter of 30 minutes to take in an AI drawing tool, integrate a product, and then do one of these, like that image that you saw on the other one. So that's the amount of time, roughly, that it's taking.
Yeah, and I think, for us, based on kind of what we showed, we feel like there's still a lot of work to get it to the level of fidelity that, we would expect. But, the point of this, again, is testing and learning and kind of understanding the technology and bringing some of that vocabulary internally within the company and just adopting a culture where, we can try things, learn quickly, iterate, and put out work that's innovative and interesting. In the AR experiment, it started as a test and learn, and then, again, ended up being a multi-million-dollar 360 campaign. Not sure if this AI test and learn example is going to end up, anywhere near that, but you don't know until you try it. And I think you just have to adopt that from a culture perspective to be a leader in the space.
And it's not meant to replace photography. Right? Like you're not going to do that, but it's finding efficiency for you to then reinvest that into innovation strategy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really about scaling and about hyper localized content across all the different touch points. So if there's a tool that can help us get there quicker and localize and generate more assets at the level of quality we're looking for, then I think it's something that could be of value.
You mentioned, before we go on to the next part of the presentation, you mentioned training your own culture internally to be adapted to this type of work. Tell us some of the things that go into that. Who are the best allies within the organization, whether it's finance or legal? What is that process like for you?
I think it really has to come from the top down, and I think it needs to come from a place of empowering, trusting your teams to be able to be innovative. If you're operating from a place of fear, you're never going to be innovative. You're never going to push the status quo. You're just going to kind of stay within your comfort zone because you're going to be worried about stepping on someone's toes or doing something that's outside of your job description. So I think you really need to push that culture, and it starts from the top. I think I'm fortunate enough to work at a company like Chobani, where it comes from the founder, top down. It's really about empowering people, being innovative, trusting your people, and not settling for the status quo and doing things a little bit different.
Do you want to move on to some other?
Well, yeah, we're gonna end with two campaigns that we recently did with Coke and Under Armour to show you how we're actually using Gen AI in actual campaigns that are out to the public. This first campaign is something we did with Momentum, an experiential agency, and Coca-Cola, and this was actually Coke's first experiential activation using Gen AI. And what it was is they wanted to have a traveling recording studio to about 16 different music festivals last summer. And so you're seeing this is not AI, this is actually the in real life, fabricated recording studio. So people would queue up in the middle, and they would go to a tablet, and they would be asked a couple of questions, kind of like the one you see up top. Pick an emoji that represents your mood. They were really, really simple and visual. And after you did that, you were then queued, if you can see on the bottom left and the bottom right, with two doors. And you walked into one of those doors, which were a recording studio. And then you walked in, look at the GIF on the left, and you would see, let it start again, but there was an LED screen. Everything happening on that LED screen, all those visuals were personalized to you using Gen AI in real time based on the way you answered the survey question. There was also music playing in there, and that was also generated using Gen AI in real time as you walked in. And then the final part was, if you see on the right side, this is people dancing, having a good time, and basically you could create your own personalized music video and walk away from this recording studio with a video of it right as you left. So to me, the opportunity with Gen AI and experiential is, how do you personalize experiential activations? That's the opportunity with Gen AI. I'll also share, for those of us who have legal considerations, because I know it's something we all deal with in marketing, is the way that we were able to get Coke's legal team and many other legal teams, okay with how we're approaching Gen AI and brand campaigns is we're actually retraining on a private server. So we're putting, things on a private server. But two, we were actually given licensed images and licensed music from Coke. We retrained on that, and that becomes the first line of defense, so that we know what's going into our AI is stuff that we've trained on. And then we're generating iterations based on that. I wanted to share this. Okay, so this last one literally just came out a few days ago. If any of you are boxing fans, Anthony Joshua just had a big fight last night. He won. So while he was in training for that, we were approached by Under Armour, and they said, we don't have access to Anthony. We want to create some content for social media, for YouTube, to promote this fight. What can we do? He said, hey, this would be a good thing for Gen AI. And let me show you. So anyway, what we ended up doing is, it's called Forever is Made Now. We wrote a script just like you normally would for a shoot. It's just instead of going to do an in-person shoot, we actually generated the majority of images using Gen AI. I'm going to show you this, and then I'll explain what was AI and what wasn't.
It's an easy choice. Make the hard way. You can fall. You can fade. Because time won't be right. It's happy to forget you. For you. Tomorrow.
So this spot was a combination of Gen AI, CG, and licensed footage that was given to us from Anthony's team. We intercut all of that together and to make what you saw there. So that was about a 3-week process to pull all of it together, and it was 1 week to concept, another 3 weeks to make. There were still some traditional aspects to that. Visual effects, we had an editor, we had sound design. What was AI? A lot of the images in between, believe it or not, that voiceover, which is Anthony Joshua's voice, that was all generated in AI. So anyway, I just wanted to share some real-world applications to kind of see how this stuff is being used in today's, with some very brave, brands who are trying this.
And we've got a few minutes left, but we'd love to understand from both your perspectives, how much does this change the creative process or the briefing process when you're open to experimenting with new technology?
Well, I think I don't know. I actually don't think it does. I think the briefing process stays the same. I think it's what you do with the brief that changes.
And I think for me, it's more of a, how does it open your mind to different ways that we haven't been, it's allowing us to create new forms of advertising. So I also think there's a huge opportunity to remix commercials that we already have content for, but now use Gen AI to create new versions of those. Listen, I love shooting content. We have a whole roster of directors at my company. We shoot tons of commercials. But what we're talking to our directors about is you've got to open your mind. And I say the same thing to brands on these new opportunities for us to do things when there's not $300,000 to go shoot a TV commercial. This is what, this opportunity is.
Great. Really appreciate the time today. I think we're almost at time. So thank you, everyone. We could probably take one question, actually, from the audience, if there is any. We can hear you.
Wait. Yeah.
Thanks. I'm curious on something like the Under Armour spot. What are your thoughts on sort of the social contract with the consumer about whether they need to know what went into production and how sort of transparent are you about that? Has it come up with Chobani? I was curious.
I'm glad you asked. So everything that was done first off in collaboration with Anthony Joshua and his team. So they were aware every step along the way. But when we posted on YouTube and on some social media posts, we actually say in there, this was done in collaboration with Anthony Joshua and his team, and the voiceover and some of the images were generated using AI. So that's how we went about it.
Yeah, I think on the Chobani side, we haven't put anything out that's AI yet, but I think it's a really good question because we really pride ourselves on being authentic, natural, and I think there is a little bit of a conflict there between, even in the name, artificial intelligence, right? And it's artificial, and being a brand that's all about being natural and transparent, and so that is a very important conversation that I think every brand should be having. It's like, how do you balance authenticity and innovation, and how do you put them together and do it in a way that's real?
Great question. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you.